Why was the education lottery money used to balance the state budget and not for education? John?
Well, there's a deficit to start off with. The crowd that went in, the early group, they thought the sales tax needed to go away, 3.25% sales tax that we had in place. They took that away. Took away the sales tax, 3.25 that we had in place. You know, my thing is, if you're going to tell somebody you're going to do something, do what you say you're going to do. This was for educational only. That's the way we got the lottery here, for educational purposes only. That's what it was about. Now, when you go and do other things with the, I don't want that. When we do other things with the lottery money, then that's wrong, because you have lied to the folks of what this thing was going to be about. At the end, you got people to vote for something that you knew at the end of the day was going to be bound by another General Assembly. I say this, you know, we worry about who's sleeping in whose bedrooms. We want constitutional amendments for that. But we need to have a constitutional amendment, what the lottery is for, to make sure it goes directly for education. That's what it's about. This is what it's about. You cannot lie to people and do something different. Now, we know we have poor school systems. They need every dime, every penny of this money. You balance your budgets on that. We're putting more on the county than we have ever done before. And so that money is going away. So again, make sure we get this as a constitutional amendment where you can't mess with it. It's going to be there forever and will be used for education.
Piggybacking on what Senator Jones mentioned, we voted on the education lottery in 2005, and I think it was your first vote when you came to the General Assembly. And the way it was presented was it was for education and scholarships and schools and the repairs. And the governor has the pleasure of using that money to balance the budget when she needs to. And when she first went in, her first term, her first year, she did that. But the Republicans are doing everything they can to cut education, and they did that. The Democrats, we stuck together we wanted to keep the 3.25% tax, which the money would be there, which will keep funding a lot of education through our community colleges, our universities, our public school systems, and they totally discarded that. And so what they're doing is detrimental because they're cutting education, which is our foundation. It's like building a house. And again, we need to do all we can to protect the money where it needs to go, and we need to continue fighting. And people need to realize that the Republicans are in control, whether you're Republican or Democrat, the Republicans are in control, and they're the ones who control the cash flow, and the Democrats are fighting, trying to make sure that a lot of their money is used the way it's supposed to be. Thank you.
The question was, why was the money transferred? That was the question, right?
Yes.
And the money was transferred because we have human beings that are legislators, and when we put human beings in charge of our money, they're going to act like we do if we were there. The problem is not, and we can't change our nature for human beings. Nobody in power ever has enough money to spend. Nobody ever has enough money. I used to be on the hospital board in Scotland Neck. I was always I was a free attorney for the hospital for 30 years, but for a period there I was on the board. We have the authority, we have the hospital authority, and we can ask the commissioners for up to 15 cents every year for the tax. We've never quite gotten there, but when I was on the board, it was 8 cents. We wanted to improve our emergency room, so we asked for 4 more cents. But I said to the rest of the board, I said, I'll vote that. But when we get able to handle this situation, then we need to cut it back. Well, that was 20 years ago. You never cut back tax. You never cut back spending unless you force it to do it. We never have enough. Education happens at the classroom and individual level. When I'm teaching my students, I see every one of my students for once a week in my office for 20 minutes, and I go over orally with what they're doing to find out if they're learning. Education is not rocket science, it's hard work. We don't need a lot of money. Smaller schools will be much better than bigger schools. And I think this combining of the schools is simply kicking that problem down the road. You'll have one school, one huge school board, and nobody will be responsible to the individual student. I think bigger is worse. Go down to local, become a charter school, convert the system to a charter school, get the government out of it. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, of course, I am opposed to the use of the money from the lottery to have been used to balance the budget, of course. But in state government, as in business, as I've been in business, you have to look at your income, look at your disbursements, and you have to channel and budget according to that so that you can make sure that your income and outgo balance. The reason that it was done, because the state legislature allowed it to be done by allowing the government to have that power to do that, and because there was a change in the legislature, of course, Republicans came in. Now, in these elections, some of us put a lot of horns on the Republicans, and when we're in Raleigh, some people act more like Republicans. They run as Democrats, and then when they're in Raleigh, they act as Republicans. So what I believe is that the Democratic Party hasn't stood firm enough, hasn't stood for what it should stand for. It's always been the People's Party. And when we have people who do not work and struggle for the needs of the individual people, the common man, as we say, then people turn Democrats out and they elect Republicans. And that's why we don't have a a Democratic majority in Raleigh now. So what I'm just saying is that we have to elect strong Democrats. Now, of course, that we know about compromise and how to work together with people, but you must go as a strong Democrat in order to come back with something.